So get this. The Fed has bought more government debt this year than the government has issued. So far this calendar year, the Federal Reserve has bought up more U.S. government debt than the U.S. Treasury has even issued. On December 31st, the total debt of the U.S. government was $16.43 trillion. And then Treasury Secretary Little Timmy Geithner, as I like to call him, announced that the government had hit what was then the legal debt limit. Last week, however, Congress enacted a law to suspend the federal government debt until May 18th, 2013, and allow the administration to resume increasing the debt. By the close of business on Wednesday, February 6, according to the U.S. Treasury, the total federal debt had climbed to $16.48 trillion, an increase of $47 billion for the calendar year. At the close of business on January 2nd, the Federal Reserve had owed $1.66 trillion in U.S. Treasury securities. By the close of business on February 6th, it owned $1.71 trillion, an increase of $51.1 billion for the calendar year. Thus, the Federal Reserve's purchases of U.S. government debt in this calendar year have exceeded the Treasury's net debt issues by almost $3.9 billion. Also last week, the Federal Reserve announced that it will continue purchasing additional longer-term Treasury securities at a pace of $45 billion a month. Now, I'm pretty sure we heard it was $40 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities. This is on top of that. So $40 billion a month on mortgage-backed securities, $45 billion a month on just this additional federal debt being purchased. It says if the Federal Reserve continues to purchase $45 billion in additional debt each month in 2013, it will buy up another $500 billion by the end of the year alone. $540 billion by the end of the year alone. But again, what about the $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities and QE1, QE2, all this other QE crap? This is nothing but a sitting and ticking time bomb, as we already know. As we've already said a million different times, we already knew this. But it is what it is, as they say. You know, and here I am wanting to just come out here to Tennessee with my boss and his wife and my wife and kids. Start a whole new, adventure in life, whatever you want to call it. Start something from the ground up, this restaurant. Basically, me and my boss are doing this thing. We're going to be the ones that started it, got it going, assuming the thing's successful, which I hope, obviously that it is. And, it's a shame that I have to sit here and think, I do these videos to educate people, obviously, and to just talk about these things. But it's a shame that we're in this country that's supposed to be the greatest country on the face of the earth. Greatest lifestyle. No one has a better lifestyle. We are that deal. I say that now. We technically were that deal, but, we are that deal is what I'll just say for now. Other countries want to be us, and everyone wishes they were in America, and all these other people, like these countries, like, Russian, get your Russian bride, come over to Russia and marry a Russian girl, she comes back to America. All these other countries, these people want to come to America. And sadly, if they're still coming now, I think they're coming a little bit on the too late side of things, when it's not going to be getting too pretty, in the future. And again, is something big going to happen financially this year? Are they still going to drag it on for another, 2014? I mean, all I know, and all you know, basically, is what people like Lindsey Williams say. You can look at the web bot, but you do have to take that with a grain of salt most of the time, because it's not spot on with timing and things like that. But at least it does paint a picture of what are going to be led to believe is coming anyways. But even like Lindsey Williams, I mean, he said that, they're not ready for this thing to implode yet. But You look at everyone who's basically resigned and stepped down all these different areas of government, high-level positions. These people are jumping ship now. They're not talking about jumping ship in the future or even not talking about it at all. They're doing it now. Timothy Geithner's not going to be sticking around. That's another one to add to the list. I mean, Hillary, same thing. All these big players. Ben Bernanke himself, the head of the Federal Reserve, said he ain't sticking around after, what was it, 2014 or something? I'm basically at the end of 2013 or so, he's done. So 2013, I mean, we're in 2013 now. We're in February, you know, halfway through February now. About to be March. You know, he's got 9 months left, you know, till 2014. You ain't gonna have someone like that come in here and then claim that he fixed everything and everything's great and then just leave. All right, my job's done. Everything's fixed. My job's done now. I'm out of here. No. You're going to want that guy to stay in charge. Hey, man, you came in here and fixed everything. We need you to be in charge. We need you to continue this. Nah, he's already telegraphed that I won't be sticking around as Federal Reserve Chairman past, say, 2014 or so, whatever it was. End of 2013 or 2014, I think was his time frame. So, as Lindsey Williams said, I mean, that's all you can really say right now is that's what they told him. They also said that you're going to see, you know, Lindsey Williams said that they told him you are going to see the Federal Reserve buy all of this mortgage, well, he already said the mortgage debt, but all of the debt, the country's debt. The Federal Reserve will be buying it. It's not going to be China. It's not going to be Japan. It is them. Them as in the Federal Reserve. And he said, but keep in mind, they told him this, they can only do that for so long, and then they'll have to stop. And when they stop, it's good night, because ain't gonna be no one to buy our debt. Therefore, we can't borrow our way out of anything anymore, and it will be time to pay the piper. And when it's time to pay the piper, as he said, we will have no choice but to default on this debt. They already knew it. They knew it years ago. They knew it decades ago. It's just happening now. It's time to take place. Now, as in the near future, whatever. This time period. So they're all jumping ship, of course, in advance. Nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. And it ain't going to be fine, because we are going to default on our debt. Middle East is going to be holding a bag of empty, worthless bonds. They're going to stop selling us the oil. As he said, you're going to hear about this miraculous discoveries in America. Great oil discoveries. We don't need the Middle East anyway. Screw them. Except you're not going to get oil, gasoline, for $1 or $2 a gallon. Nah. Nah, they're going to still rape and screw you on that. They're still going to charge you $4, because as he said, during that little crisis period, we're going to end up seeing gas prices going to at least, again, like it did in 2008, but at least and more than likely greater than $150 per barrel, which was over $4 plus a gallon at the gas pump. I do remember hearing places that were damn near $5 a gallon at the gas pump in 2008. And I was just sitting there in awe saying, how could this old skinny guy, Lindsey Williams, come out and tell us in advance this was going to happen, and then it did. And then he had the nerve to come out and say, oh, by the way, it's going down to $50 a barrel. As it was sitting there at $147 a barrel, which was the high, he had the nerve to come out and say it's going down to 50 and below. And even though he told people, I've already said this type of thing before, when telling people the price was 30 in the 80s and then was going down to 10 or 11, they laughed him off the stage, laughed him off the radio program, and then it happened. So even after he gave that information and said that's how I was treated, that's how it happened, they did it again. Lindsey, you're crazy. It's $150 a barrel. It ain't going to 50. You're out of your damn mind. So sure enough, December of the same year, 2008, this was back in July, by the way, June, July time frame, $147 a barrel. And, jeez, get her going, little truck, get her going. So, a little 4-banger pickup truck, 4-cylinder. So anyways, December comes around, it was $50 a barrel. I read the article, I have it saved somewhere, and I did a video on this a while back, and I mentioned it. And the article says, you know, Saudi Arabia to cut production by 2 million barrels a day because of falling oil prices. In other words, they're going to make a little supply shortage problem so the prices can go up. And in a matter of a week later, I went and looked at the prices. They came down even more. Several dollars more than the 50. So Saudi Arabia cut production, but it didn't change the price. Why? Because the price is set on Wall Street, on the COMEX. That's why. It has nothing to do with supply and demand. It only has to do with how many futures paper contracts are out there and who owns them and who buys and sells them when they need to. And that they, when I say they, it's the boys, it's the club. They own almost all of the contracts. Therefore, they can move the price wherever they need it to move by just moving this paper back and forth. Massive sell order, massive buy order. Plain and simple. So, this article, we're buying our bonds again. The Federal Reserve buying our own bonds. Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing has changed. Yet I can look out here, even in Tennessee. Cars are driving. Everyone appears to be okay. The sky is not falling. I don't see people protesting anywhere. All must be well. But then I look at reality, logic, and factual data that I just read you from the government telling you that there's a massive storm on the horizon. But no one seems to see it. So it's kind of like a tornado. When it finally comes and hits, it comes out of nowhere, spanks everybody, destroys houses, can kill people. And then everyone says, I'm never going to deal with that again. I'm getting a storm shelter. But if they would have had a storm shelter to begin with, they wouldn't have had to deal with that. But again, why is that happen that way? Because people are reactionary. We don't do things proactively, you know, prepare. We do it after the fact. That's just the way we are as humans. So hopefully you and I, as my subscribers, are reactionary, and we've been preparing for things like this. Again, gold and silver, and I see them playing with the price. Yeah, I know I'm up here in Tennessee. I'm still watching the price. They're still slamming it, and then it goes up and they slam it. Doesn't matter. The day will come when you realize that this whole thing of them doing that was nothing short of a gift to you to buy at record low prices when you see where the prices are ultimately going. Plain and simple. That's how it's gonna go. So anyways, I'm done yapping for now, and take care.